G'day everybody, it's Danny here from Botany Danny. I'm a plant hobbyist from Australia. In this video, we're going to take this really cool, cheap plastic container that I found and this awesome dinosaur skull, and we are going to build a prehistoric themed terrarium. Let's get going. It's going to be so good. Chomp, 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 chomp. So to make this terrarium, we're going to use this cool dinosaur skull, which I found at my local aquarium for $20, and this cool container that I found at my local department store for $15. And I love it how it's got this cool little lid. It's definitely waterproof, and I can definitely work some magic with this container. So to do this cool, awesome dinosaur build, I've got these beautiful photonias that I purchased. And these photonias are pretty slow growing, which means they'll stay small in height. They like to be well watered, but they don't want to be sitting completely submerged in water. So they're like moist soil that tends to dry out quickly over time. These are going to grow relatively slowly, which is kind of going to be fitting because I'm going to try and use them as a little bit of a layering when it comes to decorating this Jurassic themed terrarium. This Photonia has a nice cool dual colored texture to it, and I love the contrast of red and green that appears in these leaves. They're also really hardy, so it means that when you're growing these plants, if you're growing them indoors or inside a jar, they're going to be quite durable, provided that there's enough light that they can kind of absorb, as well as having the right level of nutrients in the terrarium itself. So I'm going to use a nutrient-rich potting mix that's made specifically for terrariums. The first thing I'm going to do is place my dinosaur skull into this container, and it's going to have a little bit of a buried look to it. So I'm going to fill it up with soil and then get it to the right level before I start planting any plants inside. The first layer I'm probably going to put in are some rocks, just so we have a reservoir for where the water will drain out to. Want to do is add some soil, and because I kind of want to make it look a bit buried, I'm going to fill it up past the jawline. Here we go. As you can see, there's kind of like a separate pebble layer to the soil layer. This is so that if there's a little bit too much water, it can kind of drip down into this reservoir or well at the bottom of the tank. One of the things I really want to do is put like a cool fern that will just stick out of this eye socket, and maybe something that comes out of the nose hole here. Kind of reminds me of that Pokemon. It's going to be so good. Alright, one of the things I got to think about is how I'm going to layer the plants, and that's kind of decorating them. So I'm going to open up this plant that I got here. I'm going to position it somewhere cool. Maybe separate the plant into two parts. If you can kind of just see where its roots are, this might be okay to separate into two separate plants. Let's have a look. If we do it very delicately, make sure you get the roots for both plants, and there we go. It becomes two separate plants that we can use in the one terrarium. Might actually do it for the other one too, just because I really like the look of this. I'm just going to make sure I do it without damaging just where, there we go. This has still got roots. Putting it in this corner here, it's going to hopefully flourish on that side. This one I definitely kind of want in this back area here. I need to make sure it's propped up with lots of soil, so there's plenty of space for the roots to go. Prop it up. I'm going to top it up with more soil near the end. The red ones I kind of want to put over here at the front. Kind of layered it a little bit to give it a cool layered effect. Actually, near the front I'm probably going to do more carpeted stuff. So I guess the one thing I kind of want to do is push one right here. And I've even put it like on top of the skull. This one's kind of hiding part of the jaw. It's actually looking really good. Now I do need to find some moss. I am kind of short on moss, so this is probably something I'm going to tweak over the next couple of weeks just to make sure I'm happy with the way it's all coming together. I'm not even sure I'm going to put any like kind of pebbly effect. I think I'm kind of happy just to leave it as soil. Now I just want to show you this really awesome spider plant that I've got. Look at this. Look at all spent spiderets coming off this big spider. That's a big spider plant. Look at all the spiderets swinging off. I'm actually going to take one of those spiderets off and put it in the eye of the dinosaur skull. One thing you'll notice about the spiderets is they have all of these roots that are ready to be propagated. So all we need to do is detach a spideret with these roots and then plant them in your new pot. Even put them in a bucket of water or a glass of water and just watch them grow and thrive. So many to choose from. Alright, which one are you gonna get? Ooh, it's even got really long roots at the bottom that I can use. Here we go. Oh me lord. Looks a bit big. It looks a bit bigger than I thought it was gonna be. It's probably too big for the spot. It's gonna cloud up the actual skull. So I think I'm gonna stick it more at the back here. Let's leave it there. Let's see if it establishes itself. I think I'm okay with that now. I do need something small to go down here. Let's go have a look in the garden. So here's my pond, and what I was thinking was probably using some of this lovely plant that kind of cascades in this kind of curtain fashion. If I can grab a little bit of this, I can probably get these to look like miniature grass in my little terrarium. What you want to look for here are some aerial roots. If you've got aerial roots like this, it's probably easier for the plant to kind of propagate. So I'm going to cut off the pieces that have aerial roots, because they're the ones that are going to be able to survive. So I've got these pieces with aerial roots. And hopefully they'll be able to expand and grow naturally in the terrarium. I've also noticed there's some cool moss just growing there. Might need that later. Now because I want this to carpet out, I'm going to have to make sure that this all goes in properly. Alright, let's see if I can get it to work. So it's going to take a while just to go through each thread. Love how everything looks so overgrown in this. Like, I'm even sticking some just inside the skull, just to see if it grows out. We've got these tiny ones, all these little tiny pieces. All these little tiny pieces that have to go somewhere. At the moment, I'm pretty happy with the plants I've chosen, the layering and the staging of the terrarium. The only issue here is seeing whether those plants actually survive over the coming weeks and months. I'm going to keep a little diary to see how it fares. I'm also constantly on the lookout for moss. Recently in Australia, it's actually been raining quite a lot. I've been seeing moss literally growing everywhere between concrete walls. I also want to probably put like a small fern inside there too. So I'm looking to mod it over time, but I'll keep you all updated with how the terrarium's progressing. Now, if you're ever looking to dabble in terrariums, I recommend a terrarium toolkit, which comes with 2 sets of tweezers, which are really good for planting those small, delicate terrarium plants. You've got a little scraper that's really good for softening and flattening the soil in your terrarium, especially if you've got a terrarium where the nozzle of your terrarium is quite narrow. So those long terrarium tools are going to be able to help you skate your cool terrarium ideas. As well as that, it comes with a long pair of scissors for pruning. We need to add a little bit of rain. Just slightly watering. Hopefully over time, just use a spray bottle to keep it nice and moist. It's been about 2 months since I built that Jurassic themed terrarium. We're gonna see how it's fared over time. Let's go check it out. Look at the condensation on the top of that box. Here we go, folks. We're opening the lid. And oh my goodness, that spider plant has grown really well. Some of these little sedum creepers are just creeping up the edges of this container. And all the plants are kind of thriving in here. It's so good. I love how these are just crawling up the edge. They're kind of reaching for all the moisture, which usually condenses on the edge of the container, which makes a lot of sense when you're looking at it like this. I just love this overgrown look, especially the ones on this end. Looking sick. I'd consider that a success. Yeah, so it seems like we've been pretty successful in creating a self-sustaining eco-terrarium with a Jurassic Park theme, and I love how all I have to do is spray a bit of water in it every now and then just to keep the moisture going, tap the lid a few times to kind of create a little rain effect. But yeah, easy to do, very cheap and cost effective as well. Now, if you really enjoyed the content that you saw in this video, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel and going to my main page and checking out some of my other videos. I'm looking forward to connecting with you soon. This is Danny signing out. See you for the next video.